everybody. I am Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. And that, of course, is Seamus O'Groton, my cat. Let's see here if we can get this thing queued up. Can I get a 5x5? Because the little guy walked all over this keyboard right before I went live. So can I get a 5x5? You guys can tell me if you're hearing me or not. Chase the Heat is here. Lori Abs, how are you? Allison Metcalf, Colombo, good to see you. Woofy, Yadira, Christy Hughes, how are you? Rachel, there's my 5x5. Chow Yun Smut, good to see you. West Coast Fancy, Nancy, Sandy, Wendy, Woofy, a little too spicy. Helena, Flock of Swan Boats. Marmelo, Kestrel 42, Smidge of Snow, how are you? Carol, Lisa, Mary. My brother, that would be the Johnny Scoville. Tracy Murray, how are you? Glad you're here. Word of the day. D. Cherie. Barbara Aldrich, AC, good to see you. Mary E. Barons, Oni, how are you? Lady Shishi, Yadira, Darcy, Purple Groovy, Carol Barnhart, how are you? Kathy Wright, the Dizzy Do, Bison, Motherbird, Lady Bird Sue. What's happening? We got a crew tonight, people, and I'll tell you something. You have tuned in to quite possibly the greatest show on all of YouTube ever in history. I'm kidding. But if you ever were to catch me on a good night, it's tonight. We got so much stuff to talk about. I'm not playing. Turd Ferguson, I'm proud of you. Glad you're here. Shelly Kelly, good to see you. Mad Wabbit, Feisty Irish, Yadira, Tiffy Tiff, glad you're here. Really glad you're here. Randomly Tiffany, thank you for all you do. DP in Tennessee, Amy Joe, Kathy Lucas, Incarna Soul, Twisted Sister Paranormal, Sweet Liberty. I saw Tracy Miller. Humble and Kind, there you are. Lurkin's good. Nothing wrong with multitasking, right? Lisa Trimble's here. Hello, Kim. All right, let's get this boat underway, shall we? What do you think? Cajun Queen, Dory Angel, how are you? So, you're not going to believe all of the stuff we've got to talk about today, people. Let's see. Should we lead off with Voldemort, or should we lead off with the Diddler? Tell you what, give me a 2 for Diddy and a 3 for Voldemort. Let's see which one we want to lead with. Because I'll tell you what, people, I've got some bombshell crap on both sides of the equator, really. We've got both of these guys covered tonight because there's plenty to talk about. We're getting down to, all right, looks like, yep. We are getting down to the wire, people. You know, for the longest time, we've been saying, when are we going to find out who these co-conspirators are? When are we going to find out who is part of this RICO, right? Because RICO's not a one-man operation. And there's a bunch of people. Hey, Renee B. Hey, Sharona. There's a bunch of people that are involved in this. When are we going to see these people getting indicted? Well, the Enterprise letter. The Enterprise letter is going to be out March the 7th. They got to get this delivered March the 7th. I was speaking about this earlier today, and I couldn't remember the name of it, but it's the Enterprise letter. This is where they're going to spell out their entire case in chief against the Diddler, right? They have to lay every bit of it out. Hello, Mark Hardman. Good to see you. Angels, how are you? You know, Mark Hardman, it feels right looking up and seeing you out on the deck of the boat. It really does. I'm sorry, but it does. Sarah Bowen, how are you? Cajun Queen, good to see you. So we know what's coming. This is when they're going to name the co-conspirators. Whoa. If ever we had to worry about this dude Epsteining himself, right? It's from now until that day, right? It's getting real, people, because names are going to get dropped, right? That Enterprise letter is exactly what it sounds like. It is going to be the Department of Homeland Security's Human T Division, right? Talking about the criminal enterprise that is the RICO case. So you're going to have to name all of these people that are doing, oh, baby. That is only going to give the defense. We got March, April, May. You're giving them 60 days, give or take. A couple of days shy of 60 days prior to them starting voir dire, the process of picking a jury. Tony Zuter, good to see you. Glad you're here. Yadira. Tara Glider. Kim. The Sort. Yeah, I'm just not going to get that right. So why don't we do this one? Diddle me this and diddle me that. So that's when, so the question of, hey, Tommy, when are we going to see the other conspirators? I'm going to go with March the 7th. We're going to learn everything. Then We also have coming up Beyonce Bowl. You guys hip to this? This is going to be an odd thing. On the 14th of this month, Peacock Network. You ever heard of them? I'm sorry. That's a cheap shot, right? I got 373 people watching. I'm going to take a shot at Peacock Network. But Peacock's not, they're not Netflix. But anyway, on Peacock, there's going to be a documentary coming out about the Diddler. And it's got a bunch of people in this thing that are basically turning ship and talking about their old boss or their old friend. This is all really kind of incriminating stuff. So the Peacock Network on the 14th of this month is going to be releasing this documentary. Oddly enough, the Beyonce Bowl. I don't know. Insert your favorite joke here. I'm not feeling particularly creative. But the Beyonce Bowl that she announced earlier this year, that's also going to be released on the 14th. Coincidence? I think not. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy Murray. I intend to. I'm having a pretty good time right now. They have been doing pretty good recently. Randomly Tiff says Peacock's been doing pretty good lately on docs. And you know something? I'll take her word for it. She's already proven herself to be adept at chasing things down. And I absolutely dig that. That's just one of those things. Great question, because guess what happened today? Just real quickly, and I was going to talk about this a little later, and I probably will. But I don't want to bury the lead on my man. Q went to court today. Afterwards, I got a phone call from both he and from his attorney. And his attorney said it couldn't have gone better. It literally couldn't have gone better. Now it's a hurry up and wait process. It can take anywhere from a week to 3 or 4. So we're going to see what happens. I have not seen the Bieber interview, but you're about the third person that has asked me about that. So thank you, Chase the Heat. I really appreciate those prayers for real. This is my guy, man. And you know what? I've got nothing but faith in this. I really do. There was a moment. It was funny because I was talking to his attorney today, and she said it got to that part of the procedure where you're entering anything. Are there any other documents you want to enter into evidence, or is there anything else you want to enter into evidence? And Q's attorney said, we've got some letters on behalf of my client. And the judge said, fantastic. Let me see them. Entering into evidence. Shiba, the Encyclopedia Britannica of 1,278 letters written by people on the lifeboat, some of them 20 pages long. I mean, this thing literally was an encyclopedia. And she said that the judge literally did this one, gave him the one eyebrow up, like, what the hell is that? And she said, Your Honor, he's really been able to affect a lot of people, even from inside. I think it's a pretty cool thing, and I have high hopes, and I will keep you all in the loop, I promise you. And when I talked to Q, he said to me, it was really awesome. I go, how do you think it went? He goes, I don't even care. He said, I am completely at peace. And I said, yeah. He goes, yeah. He goes, we're not leaving anything on the field. We didn't F up. He said, I walked out of court. Every time I've ever filed one of these, he said he's done it alone. And to have a professional team in there with him, he said, when it was over, he walked out of that court going, if we don't get it, it's not because we screwed up. It's because they're not ready to cave. But everything was done right, and that's a pretty damn good thing. And my brother sums it up for me as well, man. And I know for Mindy, his mother, and on behalf of all of us here at the Lifeboat family, man, for every one of you, man, it's such a huge deal. It really is. The crew, yeah, amazing job, right? I mean, yeah, he will be on the lifeboat, people. He will sit here, I promise you. His day is coming. And as I've said, when he gets out, I'm taking like a 3-month vacation and making him work every day for 3 months. So there's been a lot made about, you know what? Screw it, people. Everybody's starting to push the envelope. And this says something about this cat. There's too much out here to chase down. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Mr. Carter? Yeah, Mr. Carter. So a lot's been made about the fact that Mr. Carter won a small victory, because the judge has said, yes, we're going to hear your argument to throw this out. This is not a victory, right? I don't think this is getting reported all kinds of bad all over the place. This is standard operating procedure. You understand? For real, this is just how it works out, because they're not saying that the motion that's filed doesn't say, hey, this girl's full of crap. I want this gone. They're listing specific technicalities that they want this thrown out. One of the things is the distance that she says the party is to from where they were, that distance, 20-minute drive or whatever, is going to take them outside of New York. They're saying more than likely it was probably Jersey, not New York. And this is an argument. Now, the judge could say, yeah, yep, I'm going to throw that out. That's a technicality. Or it's time barred, and they're going to throw it out on a technicality over a period of time or whatever. The second they do that, right? The second that they do that, you know what would happen? Busby would refile it. And he would go, oh, yeah, we said 2000. We meant 2003. Sorry, we're amending it. And I said New York. It was supposed to be New Jersey. Sorry, it happened in Jersey. They can just fix it and refile it. You understand? This is no victory for Voldemort. Don't get it messed up. It's not. I'm not for Voldemort, but for for Voldemort. It's not a victory of any kind. It's pro forma. It's what happens. You have to, if you have no merit, the judge is looking at this and going, okay, there's merit to what you're arguing. Then let's get in here and decide. And if the judge decides, yeah, nope, we can't have this because, this, and this are all wrong, they could walk out, fix it, and file the next day. Yeah. So this is no big win, I promise. If it were to be tossed out with prejudice or something like that, but this is, that's no big win. It's not. It's kind of fascinating to me that Beyonce and her husband, I'm not feeling that saucy yet. Beyonce and her husband, the tide is turning. It's almost impossible to find anybody in the industry at any level that's willing to talk any kind of crap about this dude. And it may be because he's the greatest rapper of all time. I'm not sure if you know that, but that's what they tell me, right? It's not really the genre I'm into. I stopped listening to rap right after Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 broke up. That was a wrap for me, man. It really was. Right after the Message album, actually, I kind of went in a different direction. But nevertheless, this guy's got a gazillion Grammys. His wife's got all the rest of them. Between the two of them, they've got every Grammy, I think, ever, right? It's except Album of the Year. She's never won Album of the Year. It really pisses him off for some reason. But there's something about this power duo. Nobody trashes them. Everybody, even Harvey over at TMZ seems to go a little light on him, don't they? I mean, the same case he's on, allegedly, the same case that the diddler's on. This 13-year-old chick, right, that is now a grown woman, but at the time was 13 years old, and alleges that these two both essayed or R'd her while Celebrity B, a woman, watched. This is what is alleged, right? Then why is it that everybody tore up Diddy when this story came out? It was absolutely assumed to be a fact. Once Celebrity A and Celebrity B started to come into focus, we knew who Celebrity A was, right? No, definitively, we knew who Celebrity A was. Because he got listed in the lawsuit. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's freaking out because this dude is still protected. This guy still wields all kinds of power. I was talking in one of the earlier videos about that Corden dude that does the karaoke. Well, the one he did with Diddy, that was getting more views than anything that fool has ever done. That's a gold mine. You got Diddy singing in your car. Everybody like me, everybody like you, we're all going to go check that thing out, right? It's gone. It's gone. You take that down. Why? Because it's not making you money? Please. It was making him more money than everything he got. He took it down because somebody asked him to. Why would they do that? Well, that's the tape where the diddler talks about just how damn close he is, right, with Voldemort. And Carter doesn't want that tape out there. He doesn't want any, especially after his lawyer, Spyro, comes out with this crock of crap stuff about, well, they know each other from the industry. You know what I mean? If you're rappers, you're in that music industry, you're kind of hang out at music events, right? That's where they run into each other. Or occasionally at a basketball game, right? If they're there for the Lakers championship games, they might say hi to one another because they're in the same industry. It would be like you running into somebody from, whatever line of work you're in. Just absolute buckus. Nobody on earth believes it, right? It's almost insulting. But people are talking now. Mark Curry trashed them last week. Choke No Choke is trashing them. There's a lot of people in the industry where you wouldn't hear. Jason Lee just came out and started. People are talking poorly about Bebe and her husband. And that hasn't ever happened before, right? Or naked basketball. Nice. Ba-dum-bum. Yeah, or naked basketball, right? Allegedly. Hold on 1 second. Channel 10 News will do a story on me at the Citrus Connection bus terminal in Lakeland on Thursday. You know what? Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida. Kevin, I'm going to try to find that. I would like to put it on the boat. Kevin is one of the nicest people on planet Earth, folks. I'm not joking. This dude is recognized by the people in the town that he lives in for being just one of the kindest people ever. And I'm a big fan of his. I really am. Behind, so I will hear it later. Yes, you will, Corn Pope. We're waiting. We're waiting to hear. Now, here's the other thing. We wouldn't hear that he's getting released. That's not a possibility. What we would hear is they're willing to take him back in and resentence him, which, by the way, is the same thing as he's getting released, except they're not going to let him out right then. There's a whole process that has to happen. But if they say they're resentencing him, we have won, right? That's what we want, is for him to get resentenced. And if we lose, then we try again and we come at it from a different angle, because the goal is going to be, we need to get in there and get him resentenced, because he's already served enough time. In fact, he has served more time than necessary. So if this was a state case, he'd already be out. There's so many other variables where he would have already been out. So we think we got a really good one on here, people. We really do. And on the bright side, he's been fighting for this forever, but he's been doing it alone. And he doesn't fight alone anymore, right? I got out and right, so he's not alone. He's not fighting it alone. Pennies for the Mod Squad. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Christy Hughes. Now, so this sort of this paradigm shift where people are starting to turn on this dude. By the way, now that we've got about 600 people in there, there is another lawsuit that has been filed. Now, this story appears in the Houston Chronicle, if you want to look this up. But a story appeared in the Houston Chronicle that says that the attorney from Houston, Busby, has filed another lawsuit against the Voldemort. Only this particular one is for the badges. We don't need no stinking badges. If you've been listening to The Lifeboat, you know that it has been alleged, right, that there was a whole lot of tomfoolery that has gone on, including representatives of the Diamond, the Pyramid, representatives of Rock Nation that allegedly have tried to pay former clients of the Busby law firm to smut him up, to come up with stories, or to file frivolous lawsuits saying that he ripped them off, or that he was, did things improperly, whipped out his junk or something like that. They're trying to smut this dude up, big time, trying to smut him up. Comment: the time I heard of the diddler was the theme for the Godzilla movie, and I really wondered who is taking this. Yeah, well, the diddler, no one's taking him seriously, especially today, right? But when the denials started, when all of these allegations first came out, and the diddler was sticking hard to his guns and saying everything you're hearing is a cash grab, right? I am a black man and I am a billionaire, and I am in a tough industry, and these people are just trying to get paid, and I am not going to put up with it. It sounds really similar to what everybody else said, right? Until what happens? Until that tape breaks. Until that Cassie Ventura tape breaks. And then all of a sudden, that facade that he had been holding up for, I crap you not, 3 decades, right? The first one of these cases allegedly happened in 1990. Right? He and a friend. 1990. This has been going on for a really, really long time, right? And the gates are busting open. There is no longer anybody, and I mean anybody, that takes this guy seriously. And there's not a lot of people left that seem to fear him. Right? The days of fearing this guy are over. That's what happens when you take a monster and you lock his happy ass up, right? Especially the people on the street who are victims. Look, 63% of people who are SA'd don't report it, right? We talk about this a lot on the boat. But 63% of, and by the way, that's male, female, that's everybody. 63% are not going to report it, yeah? Okay. they're far more likely to report it when other people are coming forward. Safety in numbers. They feel like people aren't going to look at them as crazy when they hear this story, because you have to realize we're looking at this through the eyes of 2025, right? We all know that there's 125 lawsuits or something coming, right? We all know this. It is a very, very different concept, right? When all of these things the picture starts coming in on these 100 lawsuits, right? All of these people, we start to look at it and go, well, they must have known about each other, right? I mean, look at how many people were assaulted. It's usually not how it goes on, right? When you hear the Jane Does and you hear people that have been victimized by people like this talk, very often in their head, they're the only person in history that this dude ever did anything like this to, right? If there were other people, they would have come forward, and they feel very much alone. And that pressure and the fact that the guy's filthy rich and he's in a huge, high-rise office building with his, name of his company on the outside of it. Very intimidating stuff. Thank you so much, Lisa Trimble, and thank you, Christy Hughes. Right? Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. This was the best. It was the best foot forward we could put for. And if you're new to the boat and you don't know who Q is the man that helped me get sober, and he is still incarcerated. We're doing everything we can to get him out. So that's really kind of what we're pulling for. And from Massachusetts, good to see you. Some people deserve to be in prison, says Renee B. I'll tell you something. Thanks again, Lisa Trimble. I deserved to be in prison, right? If you break the law, you deserve to be in prison. That's how it goes. It's absolutely how it goes. What's tough is that we don't have any kind of uniform code that goes across the country, right? Somebody who does what Q did in Florida, right, and it's not considered gang related or anything like that, doesn't catch a federal enhancement. If he had done this someplace other than where he did, he'd be out. But because this got moved to the feds, it's just a very unfair system. He would have done enough time in basically any of the 50 states. He would have walked already. But the fact that the feds picked up is just tough. But I deserve to go to prison for what I did. I think most people that go to prison, if they're guilty for their crimes, they deserve to go to prison. It gets to a point where the idea is this: if you buy into any of this, there's 3 reasons that a person is sent to prison according to the United States of America. One of those reasons is to protect society from the criminal. If I'm out robbing people and stealing all the time and breaking into houses or doing whatever, you got to protect society from a dirtbag convict. So you lock that person up, and that satisfies the first of the 3 legs, right? The second one is as a deterrent to other people. When you take someone and give them a long sentence in prison, other criminals in theory look at it and go, damn, right? I don't need that to happen to me. You're punishing the person so that other people kind of see what's up. And then the other idea is that they're supposed to be rehabilitating you, right? The third leg of that is so that they can take you, put you in there, and rehabilitate you. And the truth of the matter is they don't do any of that, right? There's no rehabilitation at all. In terms of protecting society from somebody like Q, in 30 years of working in a factory in side prison, he's never had a write-up. He's never had one infraction in 30 years of being behind bars. This is a cat that society doesn't need to be protected from anymore. You know what I mean? In fact, if you got to know this dude, the earth would be such a better place if he was on the outside of that fence. He's one of those people that absolutely has the potential to change the planet. Yes, we absolutely got snow and bug tussle. Now, it was only a small dusting, but do you think fighting content creators' platforms over their own issues takes away from the real reason that we all come on here? Am I fighting content creators over their platform? I don't think that. I don't like the battling back and forth between content creators. I have a rule here on the Lifeboat that if I speak about a content creator, if you ever hear me talk about somebody's channel, I'm going to be saying something positive about it, right? That's just how it is. I don't talk about content creators as a rule of thumb. It's just bad form. And there are times where you're kind of forced to maybe make a statement. And if that is one of those situations, if you can keep that statement to about 8 to 10 seconds, right? And then move on, right? I think that for me, I want to talk about the problems that we have on this planet. I think that that's righteous indignation is something that we all share for real, and we haven't had a voice, right? This is an odd way to talk about news and about matters that are going on in the world, because everybody can fire back and give opinions, right? We all have the ability to fire back and give opinions, and I think that that's a healthy thing, right? I think that really is. It's a very different kind of an interactive kind of a thing. So let's cheer everybody up and get everybody back on the same page, right? Because I can make that happen. The second part of this story, which is a hell of a lot of fun, because the lawsuit that's coming up against him from Busby, this lawsuit concerns the fact that he was trying to pay people. If this comes true, this is a real problem, right, for Voldemort and his team. This shows the desperation. By the way, if by some chance he got the lawyer to throw out this case on a technicality because the kid was in a different state, or because the kid was, not 20 minutes away, or 5 months out, time barred of the statute of limitation because of when this thing was signed, how good does that look for your brand, homeboy? How good does that look for your brand? You look like you needed to call in $1 million lawyers to figure out some way to dodge that thing because you didn't want to go into court and face an accuser that said you did some really heinous stuff, allegedly, with your homeboy, okay? And some chick watching. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. But that's the lawsuit that was filed today against Voldemort. The second part of the thumbnail said, Diddy jailhouse drama. You're going to love this, man. You're absolutely going to love this. So you had heard last week that Diddy was having a meltdown and wanted to get brought up to medical and all this stuff. This is a different kind of jailhouse drama. Apparently, no lie, right? Apparently, he's really torqued, bent out of shape massively. And do you know why? Because that prima donna, I almost said something terrible. That prima donna inmate, right? Park bench. The diddler is unhappy because his diva butt thinks he should be the most celebrated inmate in all of that jail, and he no longer is. You see this Luigi fella? He's the talk of the entire facility. And there's a lot of people in there. You've got to figure that the average person in that facility breaks the law on the regular basis. So this guy coming in like, he went all gangsta mode, according to them, and went up and capped the guy in broad daylight, straight murked him. This is the kind of thing that inmates are going to give this dude all kinds of props about. Now, again, you know my stance on this. I don't think there's anything heroic about going up and shooting a dude in the back. There's just nothing heroic about that. But whatever. There are people in there who most assuredly are giving that vibe, and it is absolutely chapping the backside of the diddler, right? How funny is this, man? Luigi has to be, he's jealous, no question. Yeah, Luigi has to be close. Yep, let me explain to you the dynamic of this, because other networks, which really ought to know better, networks that I promise you are professionals at this and really ought to know better, keep saying he's in general population. General population is a term among inmates and among prison staff or whatever. That means when you come through the front door and there are 9 units in this place, they can randomly pick a number 1 through 8 and dump you into it. Because that last unit is for the people that can't go to other units because they'll be killed because of a problem with a gang, or they'll be killed because of a bad crime. They hurt a child or a woman, or any number of things, right? The guy's a rat. The whole world knows it. But these people that need to be protected all have to go to some place. Diddy's not in general population. He's allowed to walk around, right? He's not locked down in the hole. He's walking around a very small unit that is filled with other people that need to be protected. So if you're famous or you're rich, or you're a super high profile rat, or your case had to do with children, you're going to be put into one particular unit of this facility. My gut would say it's impossible that he wouldn't be in the same unit as Luigi. They got to both be protected. And allegedly, right, the diddler is super bent out of shape about how Luigi's being treated. If Luigi was in a different part of the jail, I don't imagine it would bother him nearly as bad. But if this guy's in his unit and you got people fawning all over him, or what is it? I love it when you do that, Daddy. That bowing and scraping. I love it when you like that, Daddy. Oh, I don't think he's going to be dropping that one in there, but you never know. It's that kind of unit. By the way, gay and bisexual men will also be sent to that unit inside of a men's federal institution. One of the first questions that you're asked is, what is your sexuality? Because if you say that you are bisexual or you say that you are gay, you are instantly determined to need protection. Because, guys that are doing long sentences look at people who are gay and think, well, obviously they're going to want this from anybody, and if they become victimized often. So there's probably a lot of people who are gay or bisexual that are in that unit as well. And I would imagine that there's a lot of people that are loving this guy Luigi, and I would imagine that that's really bumming out the diddler. And that's what the leaks coming out of MDC Brooklyn say, that he is in his feelers, right? His feeling is absolutely bummed out that he is not the center of the universe, right? Says a lot about who this cat is, doesn't it? Yeah. And I'll tell you something else. It also means, and this is a terrifying thing, if you've ever done time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a paradigm shift when you're doing time, where all of a sudden the things that are going on in the unit start to become important. So-and-so owes dude money, and you start paying attention to everything that's going on around you, because you start to realize that these little drama things can cause people to get hurt really quickly. And if you don't know what's going on, you can absolutely get in the middle of things that you're not trying to accidentally. You can really put yourself in a very bad position. But during that sort of paradigm shift where you start paying attention, you go from being a dude that is staying in county jail to a guy that knows when you leave county jail, you're not going home. And the realization of where P. Diddy is sitting right now has got to be sinking in. It has got to be sinking in. There was another filing today in court as well. I think it was today. It might have been yesterday. They blend together in bug tussle, the days. But in the last couple of days, there was a filing that the court was talking. Hold on one second. Oh, Renee B. Yeah, our country is absolutely horrible with how we treat inmates. We're pretty good compared to a lot of other countries, because there's some really horrific ones. But I've seen stuff you wouldn't believe, and I can tell you stories about things that have happened to me. I can tell you stories of things that happened to Casper. We could tell you stories that we could back up of things that happened to us when we were together. But if you weren't there, you absolutely will not believe it. Tammy Taylor says he is a psychopathic narcissist. That's why he's acting out. Yeah, it is, right? That's exactly why he's acting out. And he has to be the center of the universe. This guy took his money, right? He set up this entire business, allegedly. He set up everything that he did at Bad Boy just to scratch that itch of domination, humiliation, ritual abuse, right? He used that company to make that stuff happen. It's a sick bastard, man. Really is. He's a sick human being. Allegedly. Yeah. You like to call him Puff Daddy? Honestly, I think Sean, there's something about calling the dude Sean. Yeah, since Luigi came to town, the attention on him is over. Listen, I have been in prison when weird cases come in. I've been incarcerated when people come in with some really weird cases. And sometimes there's just some stuff that's heroic, right? I was in a county jail waiting on a federal, the first time I ever went in for a federal case. I was waiting to get put away for bank robbery, and there were 2 kids that assaulted a young girl, and they assaulted her in the worst way possible. You know what I mean? And then they tried to unalive her, and they were unsuccessful. She ended up living. And when she was able to regain consciousness, this little girl told the authorities exactly who these people were, right? Somebody caught wind of this before the police got there and unalived the 2 people that did this. And the craziest part of this story was the person that did the unaliving was not the same race as the people he unalived. So basically, he was doing a favor to a different race. And it caused a very unusual set of circumstances when this dude came in. But for a lot of people, he was a hero, like the Lone Ranger. You know what I mean? Like people get to this kind of mythic status. And if there's ever going to be anybody like that, it's this cat Luigi. Because there's a lot of people inside. And listen, if you think the guy's a hero, I'm not here to argue with you, right? I'm not. So, but there's going to be a lot of people behind bars who think this guy's a hero. I promise, right? This happens to be a crime, for better or worse, whatever. This is a crime that people consider honorable, right? Killing someone is considered an honorable crime. I'm not exactly sure how that works out, right? I'm not sure how that works out for real. But it is, in the minds of inmates, that is considered a very honorable crime. And this whole Robin Hood persona that this guy is rocking, that, you know, he did this because of all of us that couldn't get health care. That story is going to carry a lot of weight, and it is certainly dethroned Diddy, who, before this cat got busted, you know how he's been living in there? It's been stroking that mother-loving ego that has landed him into where he is at anyway, right? This feeling that he is divine. He is somehow more important than everybody else on earth. That enables him to do anything he wants, right, with impunity. Well, now, you know, that world's melting around him. At least he was the most famous person in his unit. At least all of the people there were like, damn, I'm doing time with Diddy. Because I promise you, even the ones in there that think he's an ass are going to be telling Diddy stories for the rest of their life. They did time with Diddy, right? Or they're going to keep their mouths shut because they don't want anyone knowing they were in a PC unit. RM Blake, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Has been a while. Hello, yeah, it's been a while. Not much. How about you? Sammy Sue. Bug tussle makes you laugh. Sounds like something you'd say when you stub your toe. Not bad. Not bad. I stole bug tussle. His ego may not be the only thing getting stroked these days. No, Joe Mama, I don't think you're bad for that. I really don't think you're bad for that. Here's the other thing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but in a normal unit, the odds that you're going to be screwing around in a cell with your cellmate or whatever is pretty non-existent. Everybody's so terrified, right, that they would get caught by something like that, that even if a person might lean in that direction, they're not trying to do it in a normal unit. God forbid anybody catches any wind of that. Not only could it get you killed, but your name will be forever tarnished within the prison system. I don't care. But guys do. And that gay stuff doesn't fly behind the wall. Like, they will get really salty about it. But he's in a unit, as I said, where if you come in the front door and they say, what's your sexual preference? If you say men, that's the unit you're going to. So the odds that if he's got a cellie, he got one that might prefer guys as well is fairly high. If there are anybody in there that are transitioning from male to female, they're going to be in that unit, right? Anybody living as or identifying as a woman or whatever anybody taking hormones, any of that are going to be in that unit. And the feds will give out hormones to anyone that says that they are trapped in the wrong body. That is a thing. It's a very, very big thing. It's a way that a lot of people with some really jacked up paperwork can blend in. I'm dead serious. And this was something that is kind of becoming an epidemic. Hold on one second. Yes. Yeah, when I went out thrifting the other day, actually, I did get a couple of really great scores. I got this really cool alarm clock that looks like a pocket watch. In fact, you can probably see it on top of that counter over there. That was new old stock. That thing is made by Waltham, and it's super, super old. It's a jeweled portable alarm clock that you wind up. It's absolutely perfect. It was still in the box with the original papers, the original hang tag on it. New old stock, never been touched, but really, really old, because 85 years old. So yeah, that was a score, and I got it for next to nothing. I love doing that, by the way. I know I'm a square, but I love doing that. I could go, and I have a really good time doing it with Quips. We laugh a lot, but I could go thrift store shopping all day long. Boom, ba, 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 ba. HSP, friends, at 20% of the planet, we are hypersensitive personality. I am overly emphatic, an empath. I can read energy, and I am a human lie detector, too. Wow, that's handy. You don't even have to grab those little hand things that the weird Scientologists do. I'm not picking on the Scientologist. Yeah, I am. I'm picking on Scientologists. Not the ones that are out, but the previous ones. The ones that are still in there, they're a little creepy. Come on, it is. It's kind of a creepy cult. Sorry. Not sorry. Hey, Dwayne O'Connor, how are you? Diane, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. I really am. Cord Pope, glad that you're here. Lori, I'm glad that you're here. Lisa Kelson, how are you? Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. So, to recap, if you're just getting here, a lawsuit was filed in Houston. This appeared in the Houston Chronicle. Used to be my favorite paper when I lived in Houston. And in the Houston Chronicle, it says that Busby has filed a lawsuit against you-know-who, Voldemort and his minions for trying to get, thank you, Tara Jackson, for trying to get his former clients to BS that he was a creep, right? And they were trying to put cash in this person's hand for doing this. These affidavits have already been signed, right? Allegedly, they offered one woman 10 grand, 10 racks, man, for filing a lawsuit saying that he was a thief, or that pick anything you could come up with to really smut someone up. Seems that the only thing they've been able to come up with so far is he gave somebody a venereal disease, which is admittedly pretty skanky, especially if you're married and you were doing this as a side thing, and that's allegedly what happened. Now, do I believe it? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, we know we got a whole team of people out there with fake badges. Badges? They don't need no stinking badges. But they were out there allegedly with fake badges, right? Trying to drum up this stuff. So, no, I'm not buying a whole lot of anything that's coming out these days. Yeah, they will. Thanks again, AJ Speaks. Free, nice. Duloxetine free. You know something? I shouldn't say this, but I will. Duloxetine, guys were snorting that inside in prison. Believe it or not, guys were snorting duloxetine. Pretty rugged stuff. Yeah, my memory is it's pretty rugged stuff. Yeah, Christy Hughes, ugly situation all the way around, to be sure. Will the feds pick up the fake ages? I think they will. I think they will, Bill. That is a serious crime. I mean, it really is. That is a serious crime. They get bent out of shape when you start pretending to be an officer. Now, it would be interesting to know what they were representing themselves as exactly, because, I mean, like the Blues Brothers scene where they're at Bob's Country Bunker and he pulls out the Chesterfields, Murray Sline, American Music Association. Depending on what they BS. But if they actually represented themselves as a state agent of Texas, which I believe is what they did, I'd be surprised if the feds don't pick it up, maybe the state will, because representing yourself as law enforcement pisses off law enforcement. I know, I've been caught doing it. They don't like that at all. And I got caught doing it in the old days, right before old body cams. The good old days before body cameras. Well, here's the thing. I know that a lot of you here, and I mean a lot of you, probably 500 or 600 of you, have an opinion on the Aaron Smith-Levin stuff. I am going to stay out of that fray, people. That sounds a lot like talking about a content creator. I know that there are people coming down on this camp, that camp, whatever. You guys know what side I come down on. right? You guys know kind of how I roll, and that's about it. That's probably where I think I can leave it on that. And the other thing is this. I didn't even talk about the dirt bag when they were talking about that dude getting 24 arrest warrants or whatever, right? We concentrate on people that are using massive amounts of money and power for the purpose of victimization, for the purpose of harming kids, harming women, harming people that are vulnerable because they don't have money and power, right? Those are the people we want to hold their feet to the fire and their chest to the fire, and maybe their head, right? Backside, backstrap, legs. Right? Something along those lines. But seriously, those are the people that we'd like to go after. I don't have a problem all day long talking about what a scumbag the Seans are, either of them. But I'm also going to keep it real. I'm 54 years old, right? I got sober 9 years ago. If you had met me 10 or 11 years ago, there's not a whole lot that you could have said about me that was nice. I didn't have a lot of redeeming qualities. I was really a horrific person. And if you think I'm woofing you on this, I promise you, right? Every once in a while we get Jack on and you can ask Jack questions, but he'll tell you I was about one thing on earth, right? That was it. I was going to feed my arm. And if you got in the way of that, even if you were a great person and a kind person, if you got in the way of that, or if I could use you to ensure that happened, right? If you left your wallet out, I was going to take it. And if I knew you well, maybe I'd help you look for it. But I was going to peel you for it because that's who I was. I had to come up with a really large amount of money every single day, right? When my eyes opened in the morning, I was sick. And I needed about $750 to make that sick go away, right? $700 to $750 every day to make that sick go away. That was a rugged habit. It was a terrible habit. But so I don't, when people start talking about what a sinner or scumbag or bad person someone is, I outdid them. I promise you. I did. I outdid them. All of them. So I'm not any good at judging people, right? I'm not. So all I can do is from 9 years ago going forward. And for that stuff, I'm pretty much willing to stand up to anybody for any reason. I've been a pretty good dude. I'm proud of the person I've become. Right? Emailed Courtney about a book I ordered months ago. I didn't get. His name on the reply was Courtney English. Well, how about that? What made me change, says Roxy Cole. It's going to sound really stupid, right? But somebody made me believe I could, right? I thought that I was a defective model. I thought that the way that I was built, that I didn't care about anybody else on earth because that's how I was built. I thought that, whether you died or not had nothing to do with me and wasn't going to affect me one way or the other. The only thing that was going to affect me was dope. And I thought that that's how I was built. I thought that I could not survive, right, without heroin. It just wasn't an option. So I was going to do whatever it took to get that stuff into me because without it, I could not function. That was my belief, 100%. And once I came to the realization that it was actually possible to live without that crap, right? Well, all of a sudden I didn't have to screw people over anymore, right? That wasn't a necessity of part of my life because I didn't have to come up with $5 or $6 grand a week just to not be sick. And once that realization happened, as opposed to just being really stoked, right? And then maybe go back out and just, become a public speaker and do what I used to do for a living and bank a lot of money or whatever. Once I was out of that, every time I looked at other people that were still in, I felt like, if some prick was a little bit better at speaking, right? If somebody earlier on in my life, I knew people that tried to tell me the same stuff that Q did, but they weren't any good at it. They tried. But if any of those people had been successful, who knows? Maybe I'd be a politician, right? Who knows what would have happened, but I would have been a much better version of myself earlier on in youth, right? Than having to wait until I was 46. And I couldn't get away, right? At first, I started the lifeboat because I they told me I had to go to NA or AA, and I had to go 90 times in 90 days. And I'd been down that road. I've seen that show 25 times in my life. I was going to get high in the parking lot. Somebody inside was going to listen to something that the speaker said that they thought was bullshit. They were going to roll their eyes about the same time as I made eye contact with them. Then they were going to look at me and kind of giggle a little. I'd kind of giggle back. They'd do this one. And I'd meet them in the parking lot, a person I've never met. And within 2 minutes, we'd be sitting in their car doing smack. Been down that road. So when they told me I had to go to one of those shows, I said to them, you can send me back to prison. Right? For real. You can lock me up today. I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen. I'd rather be in prison sober than on the street wasted. And he said, come up with a better plan. So I started the lifeboat. And he said, if people showed up and I was actually doing meetings, then that would be fine. And I just kept doing it. And I got addicted. I got addicted to the feeling of seeing people get clean. How did I survive 13 years in prison ripping people off? James Sharp, you stop ripping people off the second you go to prison. You can't rip people off in prison. I ripped people off on the street. Inside prison, it was different. What I did in prison was I would work deals with the dope man, right? Who owes you money? And I would go up and have words with the people that owed money, and that's what. And then you make hustles, right? You work deals. You get people to send stuff in, and it's just a constant hustle inside as it is outside. But if you steal from somebody in prison, you're not making it out alive. I'm not kidding. Like their cell thieves are the scum of the earth. It's the only time you're going to see races come together. Like when I was doing state time, somebody ripped off somebody's cell. I mean, for a bunch of stuff. And they took and made a team of Mexican cats, Native Americans, black, white, got a whole team, and they went cell to cell and searched every single cell until they figured out who did it. They get vicious about that crap. They don't play any games, man. I will do that for you. Every time someone has ever requested that, I will absolutely handle that for you. Now, I will tell you this. What normally happens is I will say to Q, hey, somebody sent me some money, to put on your books, and he will say, send it to the paralegal or to the legal team. And the reason for that is Q has been working Unicor for 30 years, right? He doesn't spend money, but he makes for prison ridiculous money. Q probably has 40 or 50 grand on his books. He owns a ton of stock. He's been investing in stock since probably his 4th or 5th year in prison. He's actually got a beautiful little portfolio. If Q ever gets out, he's going to be set. When he gets out, he's going to be set. He's been a very one of the first things that really got us talking was I had been the president of a publicly traded company. I had gotten in trouble before for the Insider Trading Act and some of the other things. And I had a pretty good idea how a reverse shell merger worked. And he was kind of fascinated on that. And I was teaching a class on stock because I got paid to do it. And he was in that class. And then some days I would be really great and I would do a great class and I would teach well, usually because I was wasted. And then the next time I would basically blow the entire thing off. And it was because I would be, and that's sort of what started that. How many co-conspirators do you think will be named? Well, there's the good question. Thanks again, Tara Jackson, and I will do that. Let's do it this way. Shallst we? How about if we do this? Booyah! Let's get a look at that list there. On the very top, we have KK, Christina Koran. I would say pretty safe bet that woman there is going to be in some trouble. Now, why are all of these names on there? Well, this is the Little Rod lawsuit that you're looking at right there, right? These are the people that Little Rod named in his lawsuit. So he actually put down Sir Lucifer Grange as one of the other peoples he's filing. They're listed as another person that is being sued in this case, along with Ethiopia Hoptamarian, CEO of Motown Records. Of course, Lucifer runs Universal Music Group, UMG. Justin Combs is a Schmex worker recruiter. So he was out there finding the, because it's come out in every single story, right? The big, His job was to find sex workers. Moy Braun, same thing, right? Also out recruiting. This is a frightening concept, but there were literally recruiters, right? Brendan Paul, we know what he did. He was the guy carrying around the pink sack of dope, right? And then Mr. Santella, right? Because the bag holder. This is the dude that walks around literally with the cash, right? Holding the bag, so to speak. But I would say that a lot of the people you're going to see get hemmed up. Fahim Muhammad, we know who this is, right? Anytime somebody dies who's famous in the music industry, somehow, allegedly, Fahim Muhammad is there. There are people who allege that this cat's Mr. Wolf. Well, why didn't you say so, right? Young Miami on staff, as is, no offense, Fitty, but 50's ex, right? Baby's mama, Daphne Joy, also a Schmecks worker on the payroll. According to all of this, people, is according to the Little Rod lawsuit. However, I think it bears talking about and listing because let's be real. We've been looking at the Cassie Ventura lawsuit and the Little Rod lawsuit. A mishma, an amalgamation of both of those lawsuits is the case in chief. At least that's how it looks. We really are not going to know until when? Why, March the 7th. That's correct. March the 7th is when we are going to find out about the Enterprise letter. This will break down and give all of the details about said enterprise. That would be the criminal enterprise that allegedly Sean Diddy Combs and his minions have been running. Now, in order for this to go, this enterprise letter, there's going to be dates, there's going to be times, there's going to be people's names and what allegedly transpired. I can ask you, what are you going to be doing March the 7th, 2025? If your answer is anything other than listening to The Lifeboat, well, you've hurt my feeling. We're really going to be having a good time on that day. We're going to be talking about that. There are going to be names getting named. There are going to be, that's the start. You know who's going to be indicted. You're also going to get a pretty good idea of who's been snitching. Hey, Jason P. Hey, Lacey. There's going to be a lot of people snitching, folks. A lot of people. Yeah. Monique, I'll tell you something. Too much smoke here, people. Too much smoke. Not to be fired. Monique Love says, allegedly, security staff engaged in the SA with the diddler. Don't tell me the head of security wasn't aware. Now, it depends on which head of security you're talking about, because there was a paradigm shift somewhere along the lines because they stopped hiring people with any kind of law enforcement affiliation, right? So Gene Deal was a probation officer. For all intents and purposes, this guy's a cop. He's got a badge. He's got a gun. They were hiring off-duty cops. Friends of his were also helping. So they were honestly working with cops. This happens a lot. A lot of cops will moonlight doing security gigs, right? But some of the other people that, like Joe Sherman, okay, he started to work with a different class. I'm not bagging on Joe Sherman, but allegedly there are people that say that not only was he involved in some SAs, right? But also, he may be the guy selling some of these revenge you-know-whats, right? Sounds like corn. Some of those revenge tapes allegedly had been moved by Joe Sherman. Now, regardless, there's a lot of smoke around a lot of stories of when he engages in these activities, the people around him are it's not enough for him to do this. And if you understand the mindset of a sick bastard like Combs, this will make sense to you. It's about ritual humiliation, right? It's about being a psychic vampire. It's about stealing energy. It's about crazy esoteric crap that sounds stupid but is quite real, right? Ritual humiliation, making somebody do something that is against their normal sexual orientation, right? How much more humiliating could you get to make a man perform oral sex on another man if that man happens to not be gay? But this is the kind of stuff that's alleged. And very often, because of that control aspect, if you work for him and you're there, he goes, all right, you get in here, you do this, right? We hear about this in one lawsuit after another, where people nearby are ordered. Women who have been victimized have said, after two people had done this to her, Diddy was ordering the third person in, right? When that person didn't want to have anything to do with it, right? Apparently, every once in a while, there's an effing human being in the group. But you see what allegedly is going on in these worlds. This ain't normal. And this has got this much to do with sex, right? You can't ascribe anything normal to these people and these activities. Do you understand? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't believe that for a second. Now, do I think that he might have known things were, I don't know, but I don't think he got rid of squat. No, I think hubris, I don't think he thought there was a chance they were kicking his doors in. I don't think he thought there was a chance. I think he thought for sure he was going to get hemmed up, he was going to get arrested, whatever. He couldn't get rid of this stuff. These were trophies, right? In my humble opinion, these were trophies. Right? Like serial killers, they keep things. This guy, allegedly, he was showing SA videos of him and a friend SAing a woman decades after it happened. Hey, you want to see some of my greatest hits videos? Here's me SAing this woman. Here's me and a friend SAing this woman on a pool table. Here's me and a friend. You can't make this up, right? You can't make this up. But he is so freaking arrogant that he just didn't think they were going to kick his door in. And you know what? Why would he? Why would he? Think of how many times this dude's been dead to rights. He pulled a pistol, right, on a photog, on a reporter. I promise you that lands me for a long prison sentence. Y'all never see me again, right? He hits his kid's football coach in the head with a kettlebell. Tommy Scoville, see ya. You'll never see me again. That would have got me thrown away. That is assault with a deadly weapon, folks. That's not a fight where you used, that's assault with a deadly weapon. Kettlebell's a solid piece of steel with a handle on it. Okay? Busted into that dude's office, Steve Sharp. Stout. Steve Stout. Smacked him in the head with a champagne bottle. Once again, right? Assault with a deadly weapon. 1 day of anger management. You're going to need to calm down, Sean. Right? Settle. That's why when you see the interviews of him in the early days, I know you've all watched them. And they say, so you named your company what? Bad Boy? Yeah, I called it Bad Boy. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to go against the grain. It ain't nothing negative or anything like that. I'm just going against the grain because I'm going to make it. What are you, Michael Jackson? You're not fooling anybody, fool. Trying to sound all soft and kind and all that stuff. No, then you see him later on in life when that mask starts to slip, right? When that mask starts to slip and you hear the stories, right? There's a lot of allegations out here about how sick this dude is, man. But no, I don't think he got rid of evidence. Look, they took 8 devices, right? 8 devices and pulled off, what was it? You guys help me so that I don't mess this up. Was it 90 gigabytes? It was either 90 gigabytes or 70 gigabytes, but they took it off of 9 devices, right? We're talking about more storage, enough storage for 250 full-length Hollywood films per gigabyte. Multiply that by 90. And that's off of 9 devices. They have literally over 90 of these devices. I don't think he got rid of anything, folks. I don't think he got rid of anything. This might surprise you, right? This might surprise you. Let me answer this question because I think it's a really good one. From your experience, what percentage of police officers and corrections officers, those are the people that guard inmates, are honorable? This may come as a shock to you, but I would say in cops and in corrections officers, 95% of them are honorable. For real. I think 95% of them are solid people that go after their job because they believe in it and they're really good individuals. And 5% turn out to be not great. Now, that doesn't mean that all 5% of those people are scumbags that'll plant evidence on you and do all that stuff. But 5% are not in it for the same reason that the other 95% are. And then a certain percentage of those are going to be willing to bring dope in if you pay them enough money, right, as a CO, or they're going to throw a little dope in the car if they think it's a righteous bust and they'll just make it a little bit better. Same kind of mindset that throws a bloody glove at the crime scene, right? mean, we know the guy's guilty. We might as well make it a little bit better. There was a great film once with the late great Robin Williams and Al Pacino. The name of the film is Insomnia, I believe is what it's called. It takes place in up in Alaska, where you get 24 hours of sunlight. Very, very cool film. Yeah, it's the 5% that cause so much problems that people end up saying F the police and defund the police and all that. It's the 5% that screw it up for the rest of them. But 95% are great human beings. And I mean, I have met some prison guards that were just aces. I mean, just solid individuals. But again, that 5% will ruin it. Those guys that hung me up and beat the piss out of me were definitely in that 5%. All but one of them. I've told the story. That one guy came back bumming. He came back bumming and apologized. And I mean, he was going through it. He really had felt horrible about what he did. And he was a younger guy. And I think it's like anything else. You're almost in a gang. You're all dressed the same way. You carry weapons, right? And now you got an inmate who punched a cop in the face and you got him handcuffed like this. And 3 guys punch him. You're the 4th person and they're looking at you like you just witnessed a crime. You going to smack this guy and be one of us? Or do we got to worry you're going to tell on us? And I think the guy punched me because he just kind of got hemmed up into it, if you know what I'm saying. Kind of messed up, right? Yeah. But the vast majority of them. 100 terabytes from 9 devices. Thank you, Sean Cummings. See, I got the greatest audience on YouTube. Apparently 100 terabytes from 9 devices. People are talking about a lot of friggin' information, right? A lot of information. Twisted Sister Paranormal, thank you so much. I absolutely will do that. Robin Williams was good in that, wasn't he? That was a really heavy-duty film, too. You know what, Lisa Kelson? I'm not going to get all religious on anybody, I promise you, right? But there are religions out there that say things kind of like even really horrific things can all work toward good kind of stuff. And that ass kicking I took after punching that cop, I swear to you, man, that was the epiphany. That was the start of the change of the rest of my life. And I needed a lot of work. It wasn't like I got fixed in that moment. But that was the moment that I realized that I was hanging there going, I got no control over anything in my life right now. I got 5 guys beating the piss out of me, right? All I had on was boxy shorts. I had been pepper sprayed. There's nothing I could do but hang there from my arms and wait for the next guy to come in and punch me. And I was thinking to myself, I could spit at him. I could get a mouthful of blood because I was already bleeding. And I'm thinking of all of these different things. And then I realized that the only thing, right, these guys wanted to piss me off. These guys wanted to make me hate them. And as stupid as it sounds, I realized that I didn't have to hate them. Right? They sound really dumb, but I didn't have to hate them. They couldn't force me to hate them. I was in control. They could keep beating on me, but they couldn't make me hate them. And I started saying really nice things when they'd come in to hit me. I'm not kidding. Hey, man, I hope you have a safe trip home. I hope nothing happens to you. You threatening me? I said, no, man. Saying a prayer for you. Hope you get home safely. Right? It's supposed to have a windstorm. Sandstorms, they were ugly there. But I gained back this much control. And it may sound dumb as shit, but I learned that day that you can't make me mad. Right? You can't make me this. You can't make me that. I can act like a jackass because I will take what you've done and then I will react to it in ways that make me look stupid. But nobody makes me do anything, man. Right? You can't make me angry. And I'm done making myself angry over stupid stuff like that. So it was a weird little exercise, but I gained back control because I realized that I felt like the only way that they were going to win is if I really turned into a little hate monster in there that sat in there wishing they were all going to die. And I'm not kidding you. Like when they first started beating on me, I was literally praying they were going to die. I was in there talking to God like, kill these sons of bitch. Come on, God, help the brother out. I had one of them have a heart attack. Like I was on some hateful shit there. But I don't know. Really great things can happen in really weird times. And that was, I took the power back. It may sound dumb, but I honestly took the power back. All right, people. I have a bunch of cats I have to go play with. They've been neglected all day long. I've been working on Diddy stuff. It's kind of a high demand job being the the ultimate cat father to so many felines.
Cats?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cats?
Look, my favorite cat right there.
Okay.
There's
more than cats to
There it is.
Okay.
See, that was my favorite cat right there. All right, people. Between now and the next time that she is lurking in the background. Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody. Listen, thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. A lot more of you did, and we are above 28,000. And for a channel that had a goal of saving 6 people, right? I think out of 28,000, we've probably done a little better than that. And I want to thank all of you for showing up here all the time. This is your channel. This is your boat. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. Thoughts and prayers for Q, please. Have a good night.